Alright, so Mountain Temple skip, we'd be coming up from there to here. Obviously, we just came down from the zip line. Both paths will meet up here, and onward we move. Alright. So another forward hold situation here. So this is all scripted. She will slip down in here. Again, it's nothing that you're doing. It's just scripted in the game that she will slip a bit. So all you're doing is holding forward for this entire section. But this is also a good time to talk about the game crashing. So Definitive Edition, you don't really have to worry about this. I've never had a crash here. However, on PC, this spot seems to be a common crash point. These runs, and it's the case for all three of the Survivor trilogy, have some known potential crash points. As such, the mods have decided that they're not going to penalize runners for defective software, basically, which is what a game is, software. They're not going to penalize you for the game just being a little bit broken. So, if a run crashes, that time, as long as you make sure that in your submission you are putting it in the notes for the run, so that the moderator knows with timestamps, so the moderator knows where it is and can verify that everything looks correct. You can either just pause your timer when the crash occurs, and then resume time once you reach the point that the game crashed again. When you immediately, again, you want a seamless single segment video submission, but as long as you, of course, close out the game after the crash and reload immediately and to continue from the save that you were running off of. Return to that crash point, you can resume timer from there, or you can just let your timer go and subtract that from your final time again, putting that in the notes that game crash occurred at this timestamp and subtracted from to this timestamp when I reached that same point. So I have had many runs submitted to the board with crashes in them. My current run, fortunately, does not, because it's, even though it doesn't give you a time penalty, it's still annoying when it happens, so it's always nice when you get a run without crashes. However, if it does occur, you aren't going to be penalized for the time of the crash. Alright. So again, we're just going to hold forward through this. And then go around to the next cutscene trigger.
Pack's up there somewhere.
A little bit of a cinematic here. Jump. I'm going to take 2 steps. We're going to go to this corner, and as it swings forward, we're going to jump. And you should be able to fluidly make that jump off of that crate. Alright, so up here, around these stairs. And we're going to jump onto this railing. So now we're coming up to the next skip. Wolf Cave skip. So I'm going to make sure my camera's pointed all the way up. And then I'm going to jump. And I'm going to jump pretty well forward, slightly to the right, kind of into the pillar. And then I'm going to push a little harder right to get her to go off to the right and grab that ledge. This one takes a little bit of work to get comfortable with, but thankfully, if you have a completed save or anything like that, this is an easy one to practice, since the fire right down where Roth is, down there, at that little, I don't know, gazebo or whatever, right there is a fast travel point. It's Village Plateau, I believe, is the fast travel point name. You'll be able to just fast travel to this, and then there'll be a couple enemies in this building and stuff when you return to it the first time off a completed save. It'll be daytime, but whatever. Doesn't make a difference. That the environment is still the same, and you can practice this skip again. So yeah, there's a couple guys that will be chilling inside here. There's like 2 guys that will be down there, I think. So you'll just have to kill them first so that you can practice the skip in peace. So jump. Just like that. I know that seems super simple, but it can be a bit of an issue. So, yeah, camera all the way up, jump, just like that. So, forward and then to the right as she's like midway up, jumping into the corner. So, if you do miss it, which commonly will look like that, chances are your best way to go around, I like to jump around back up these stairs. You can also try to just jump over this and jump onto that crate, but there's a chance you'll end up getting into a grabbing animation on the crate. You won't jump cleanly on top. You can also try for this jump, but that one's a little tricky because you have to jump up, around, over that, and turn Lara mid-air to make the jump to here. So... and you still gotta go all the way around here. Back around, so... yeah, generally, if I do miss it, obviously, with my time, that would be a reset if I missed it, but... when you're first learning the run, if you miss it and just looking to get completed runs under your belt, if you miss it, you can just jump around here. To go for another attempt on it. So, just like that, around, and that. If you're not comfortable at all with the skip, there is the ability to do the intended route. I'm not going to take you guys through the intended route fully. I will just go here. You go through this fuselage. Once you get on the other side, there's going to be a whole dramatic thing of some lightning striking a tree stump. This part of the plane will fall a bit. Then you go up on the top side of it and run to get onto the handholds up here and climb up to the wolf cave. That would be the intended way. But back to the skip. So once we're up here, we're going to go around, and you can jump straight for the rope. I don't like to, just because sometimes her heels will clip this and it could be a little risky. So I like to go to the edge, jump, and then land her off the corner of this and just do another jump off the corner of this before she slides off to the rope. Just because it's a little more comfortable for me, just like that. I feel a little safer in doing that. But whichever one you feel more comfortable with, you can jump straight for the rope, or you can do that little slide, butt bounce, whatever you want to call it, off of the roof. And then we just go up here. So yeah, as you can see, there's the intended route up those handholds, and you can see there's a bit of a climb there, so between the cinematic of the lightning hit, going all through there, and then having to climb up each one of those ledges, which is going to have a slow vaulting animation, this does cut a considerable amount of time. So, into the wolf cave. Alright, once she's in the crouch animation, I'm going to hold aim. And the reason I'm going to do that is because there's going to be a wolf, once I move a little bit forward around this corner, there's going to be a wolf that's going to dart out from the left. It's not just for dramatic effect, it's not going to attack or anything. It's just going to dart out from the left and go off to the right and disappear. I mean, you can shoot it if you want. XP's not a concern, so it's not like you need the XP from it. The wolf's not going to attack you, so it's not a concern, so you don't have to. But I know there are a couple runners that like to shoot it because they're holding aim anyway. Normally, going through here, if you just walk through, when that wolf does appear, Lara will get startled, she'll stop moving for a brief second, and then you can move forward again. But by holding aim, she doesn't get startled at all. and we can just keep moving forward the entire time.
I just want the pack. That's all.
She does the gasp, but she doesn't stop dead in her tracks. Alright, so here's another one. We're going to watch the bottom right corner. As soon as the autosave happens, right there, reload checkpoint, and you could spam jump coming out of this, and sometimes, yeah, you'll get a little bit of a jump out of her. Only saves like half a second, not much at all, but you can do that. And get a little jump forward out of the reload checkpoint. And straightforward, just follow the QTEs here.
Oh, that was close.
And then the same zip line we used to get up here, we're going to take back. Because we got to return the pack to Roth. So jump, jump. On the zip line, we're going to let go off the corner here and go down here. Nice, fairly straight path back to Roth. Gonna try to stay away from that rock so she doesn't do, like, she'll sometimes magnetize to that rock and do a vaulting animation off of it, so. Alright, so spam through 2 cutscenes. Here's another spot where she's got, like, half jumps, so roll forward
I can climb
onto the wall. So, climbing. So, her regular climb is very slow. So, we want to jump and reattach, which is X to jump, square to reattach. Now, if you're comfortable, you can jump at the same time as you reattach pretty much. And it's faster, so. Takes a bit of practice to get used to quick jumps, but even just doing jump, reattach, is going to be faster than doing her regular climb. So, take some practice to get quick with it, but as long as you're getting some jumps in, you're good. Whenever jumping up in a straight line, you can always do no directional input because, again, Lara can be a little weird with directional inputs and jump in some random directions. So if you're going up in a straight line, you can just use the jump. And she might, like, do weird animations like that, but generally she's going to go straight up when you're only doing jump with no directional input. So, anyway. As if I'm doing this correctly. So up. And then up here. 2 jumps onto the plane wing. Jump, jump. And then here, I'm going to take a step forward, and as soon as she's off this little bit of wood, should be able to... Okay. She's going to prove me wrong because she's Lara. Right off the corner, yeah, you can just jump feet first onto there. Just to avoid the vaulting animations. Now, there's a risky strat here. I highly do not recommend it. I don't go for it in runs. But you can try to jump straight for that wall. It's not easy to make. You'll probably miss it. And if you fall down there, you have to go all the way around. If you choose to go for it and fall down there, try to keep left, hugging the wall to get back up. Because if you go too far to the right, you're going to hit that cinematic trigger that existed for the plane. Actually, the plane despawns? What? I didn't even know that. The fuselage despawns. Anyway. Yeah, you might... That cinematic trigger is still, like, right around there or so. So if you end up too far right, you'll hit that cinematic trigger. And because we didn't trip it yet, the lightning will come down and strike a non-existent tree stump. Huh. The game doesn't even load the tree stump unless you actually hit the cinematic trigger, but I think it's like right there. There's a tree stump that you can hit. That the lightning will hit, so you'll have a few seconds of watching that occur. So here, I'm gonna go up, jump up, and then just hold hard left, and she'll be in cooperative, reattach, and we're out. Okay. And again, here I like to get as far left, so it's pretty much a straight line up this wall. Jump to the far right, so that way, again, I get a nice straight line up. Jump, jump, off of each of those, and we're up this wall. One jump, and then here, staying off to the left a little, so you can see I'm a little to the left off center. For whatever reason, just kind of increases the chances of her grabbing this easily as you're jumping up. Sometimes, especially on the right, she'll just kind of do a false jump where she'll jump up high enough to grab this, and then she'll refuse to grab it and then just drop back down, and you'll have to just be ready to spam square and reattach to the wall and go back up again. She won't fall far as long as you're ready for it and reattaching, but yeah. The likelihood of her grabbing the wood properly is a little higher on the left side from my experience, so I like to keep her just a little to the left, just to ensure she grabs that. Here, as soon as the bridge starts to fall away, that's when you can jump, and you can spam square early, and she'll reattach. If you jump too early or too late, she'll end up doing a saving grab on this wall, where she'll attach, but she'll dangle from one arm, and you have to hit square to get her to reattach, which of course is going to be a bit of a slower animation. So you don't want to jump too early, you don't want to jump too late. So basically, as the bridge starts to actually fall downward, jump and spam square to attach, and you should be able to attach the way I just did and be able to start moving up the wall immediately after attaching instead of having that saving grab. You can get a jump as soon as you get up on the top here, but not needed, because you're hard locked to this radio convo anyway, so we'll get to the ledge here, but we're not going to be able to jump until the conversation stops. You can drop off a little early here, once you're basically above the water, jump around that guy, and get through here. And have dialogue that's very reminiscent of the dam in The Last of Us. Alright, jumping around that one melee guy, and there's going to be a bunch of enemies coming up that we're going to be jumping around. So if you're choosing to use the scramble jump method of jumping past enemies, stop using the scramble whenever you jump past an enemy. So whenever you're getting physically close to an enemy, do not use the scramble. Transition to only using jump. And the reason you do that, because your scramble is the same as, well, your dodge. The scramble's meant as a dodge, basically. And when you're close to an enemy, she'll go into a dramatic dodge animation, which you don't really have control over the direction of either. So sometimes you'll have her pull dramatically away and backward away from the enemy in a direction that you don't want to go. The camera will pull a little bit with it. So to avoid that, whenever we approach an enemy that we're going to jump around, we just go to regular jumps. So.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Back to our jumps. Into this cutscene trigger. And we've got 3 cutscenes, I believe. Maybe 4 back to back to just skip through. 3. Alright, so immediately we're going to hit square to go in here, and we're going to buy some more skills. So, again, getting used to everything. It takes some practice. I'm going to do this a little slower than normal, just so you can see what's happening, but again, as you get used to it, the rhythm of this is back out once, and there's going to be sound effects to know that you've got each thing, so rather than spamming, because you could spam all the way out, stand up before you buy your skills. You don't really want to spam here, so 1 out, 1 out, to the left once, into skills, to the right once, in, to the right once is going to give you ammo capacity. First skill bot. Back out of the description of it, back out once more, to the right, in, and buy pain tolerance. So pain tolerance is going to make it so we're not going to die as easy from shots, and ammo capacity, well, obviously means we can carry more ammo, and running out of ammo is not going to be as much of a concern throughout the run. So we buy those 2 skills, and then there you can just, once you bought the second skill, you can spam circle because it'll just take you straight out. Alright, so now that we got ammo capacity, I can pick up extra pistol ammo here. And then we're going to move forward. So, into here. So like I said, watch the inputs if you need to, but whenever I'm very close to an enemy, I'm going to just jump. I'm going to stop using the scramble and transition to just jumps. Here I do it because I don't know where that guy is. Sometimes he's right there as soon as I get there. So here, as long as you're consistently moving, you should be good. One jump, I'm going to spam square to grab that, and then jump to grab the zipline. So picked up a bit more ammo. Through here. And again, always stopping the scramble whenever I approach an enemy. Like this guy. You can get hung up on their hitboxes, so just be aware you might have to jump around them a little weird sometimes, but you should be fine. Now, there is some super rare RNG glitch that can happen here. It's super rare, but just so you're mentally prepared should it happen to you, because once you do enough attempts, it's bound to happen to you once. One of the guys from the hallway can clip through the wall and end up inside here with you. You should be able to just ignore him and just go through the motions, pretend he's not there, but just so you're not too surprised by it, it can happen. Now, he can still do damage on you, so he could potentially push you into the gray and potentially kill you. But the chances of that happening, I've never had it happen for the, I don't know, over my time with the game, 10 times that I've had an enemy clip in here. I've never been killed by him. But yeah, just so you know, if you end up seeing a guy inside here with you, yeah, it can happen. All right. So we're going to jump immediately off to the left. If we're lucky, we can get Lara to jump straight up on top of there, but she didn't want to do it. She normally doesn't. It's hard. Not something to worry about. It's like, again, like a half-second time save. So I jump forward, spam square to pick this up, and then, of course, we make sure the arc's nicely positioned. Throw the lantern, and then we can jump forward. You can jump all the way up to the wall, and it's not going to do any damage to Lara, so you can jump all the way up. As soon as you do the throw, jump forward. Alright. So, we get our machine gun. After we come out of the cinematic of Lara looking at it here, I'm going to scramble and jump forward to 2 crates of machine gun ammo. Pick those up, and then hard left, jump and scramble through the door into a cutscene trigger. So there's going to be 5 enemies that we're going to try to get quick headshots on before the slow-mo ends. If you only get 4, it's okay. I used to only go for 4 because... Alright, actually we should do this as well. This is another spot we should be doing this. Going through some alternate things, because the enemy AI pathing in here can vary widely. I'm not going to take you through every potential situation. There's a lot of just... You have to be able to read and react a bit here. If you need to spam some body shots, by all means do it. Ammo overall isn't too much of a concern throughout the run. You don't want to be too frivolous with your ammo. And obviously headshots are going to be faster kills if you can get them. But by all means, if you need to spam some body shots, and sometimes just for safety to put an enemy into stagger animation, you should spam body shots. If you can't get that headshot immediately, do so. Alright. But the order of enemies is going to be bottom left, there's going to be a guy straight forward, then bottom right, up on the right, middle, and then back left. Ideally, we should be able to get all 5 of them before the slow-mo ends, and then a next wave is going to break through the door and spawn. There will be also be an archer that will spawn in on the upper level.
Just end it. Please. Now, light her up. Time to die.
That's 1, 2, 4, and 5. Grab that ammo, move forward, and these guys will go in all kinds of different places, so just, you gotta be ready for them to be moving all over the place. This archer, you want to be very careful with shooting, because if you miss your shot on him, he will sometimes, you see all that railing that's up there. If you miss your first opportunity to headshot him, he will quite often go and like hide behind that, and it'll take forever sometimes to get another clean shot on him. So he's the one enemy that you want to, like, the first time you look at him, be ready to get a clean headshot on him the first shot you take at him. You don't want to take too long aiming at him once you look at him, and you don't want to take too long getting your shot off, too long, and you don't want to miss your shots either. You don't want to miss him or just hit him in the shoulder or something, because there's a good chance he'll end up going off to the right and slowly going around, and there's that gap up on the right. He'll sometimes eventually make it to that. You might actually just stay behind the railing and then eventually pop up. It takes a while. So you want to be careful about that. I don't know why I paused, because no more enemies are here at the moment. So yeah, be aware of that. And like I said, these guys that came in through the door, once I had full control of Lara and moved forward, they can do a number of things. Like sometimes the first guy here, he actually came toward me, which was nice. That was actually something you want for the most part. He sometimes can go and run over there. He can run over there. Same with one of the archers. I don't sure. This archer. This archer sometimes will run over there. Sometimes this guy or the archer will run and take cover in that door. So you just need to kind of like be aware of where the guys go. This guy will pretty much always rush you. This melee guy, he'll pretty much always end up rushing you, but the rest of them can vary as to what direction they're going to take. So sometimes they'll go there, sometimes they'll take cover here, sometimes they'll take cover there, sometimes they'll take cover behind that desk. They can go there, they can run all the way and try to take cover behind these poles, and sometimes the guy will go and take cover in this corner. So just be aware of all the potential spots that you go, and just be ready to, you know, go around, pick them all off, jump forward, pick them all off as you go around, and then, you know, of course, there's the archer dude up there. Alright, so that's a typical situation. There is one more enemy we do have to deal with as part of this section, but he won't spawn until I get to this corner. So, and he's always going to be consistent in the same spot. Now, you want to get a feel for which enemies are here and how many you've killed, just to know that you've got everyone and not you didn't leave someone hiding somewhere. Because once you go here, spawn this guy, kill him, and go to the door, if you have left someone in this room, there is an anti-flee measure that will happen, where you'll try to pry the door at the end of this hallway coming up, and a Molotov will spawn out of thin air coming here and hit you. Sometimes after the Molotov hits you, like, it won't kill you, it'll just break your animation of trying to pry the door. It'll stop you from opening the door. Sometimes when you turn around, the guy you left alive will have actually moved forward, and he'll be like right at the corner here, either like actually visible, or you'll come to the corner and he'll be right at the stairs. Sometimes though, he'll actually still be hiding in this room. The Molotov that gets thrown at you doesn't actually come from the enemy that's alive. It just, if a Molotov does come to you at the door, it does mean someone is alive still. So just something to be aware of, that you want to make sure you kill everyone in here. So, for speed, ideally, you want to kill these 5 guys in the slow motion and just be ready to read and react to what everyone does when they burst through the door. However, I'm going to take you through the more controlled, not a lot slower, but slightly slower overall, like optimal versus optimal, slightly slower method of killing 4 guys and then moving forward. So,
Now, light her up.
alright, so your other option is to, same first 4 guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave that 5th guy alive, grab this, then move forward. These guys will come through a little slower and generally be in a much more of a straight line. So you'll get more consistent behaviors. You're pretty much always going to get one guy taking cover there, you got the guy up top, and then this guy's right behind me in this corner. So that's going to be a bit more typical of what you'll look at when you do 4 guys first in the slow-mo and leave the 1 alive. You'll still get the spawn through the door, but because you left that guy alive, they'll spawn through slightly later, which will allow you to grab this ammo, and as you move forward, they'll all kind of file single line, so you can kind of pick 2 to 3 guys up in a straight line, because you won't have to move your aim much, and then 1 guy's almost always gonna go run to there, and 1 guy's usually gonna hang around near the door where this guy was. So, that's your other option. You can also try to, with that, shoot the barrel, but the barrel, because it's kind of partially behind that door where it's positioned, it's hard to really get efficient kills with it. But it is there as an option as well. You can shoot that barrel, and if a guy's close enough to, or 2, you could potentially get more than 1 kill out of that barrel. But it's not the most effective in that position. But just so you know, it is there as an option. Alright, so once you've cleared out everyone in this room, whichever method you're going to work with, we're going to go forward to here, and a guy's going to drop from the ceiling, and you can spam him as soon as he drops, or you can let him drop to the ground and headshot him, whichever. I generally try to, because, you know, I'm comfortable with it and know he's going to drop from that spot, I generally am going to be shooting and finishing him off before he drops to the ground. I try to get a headshot on him because, of course, it'll be a little quicker, but you can also spam him with body shots as he's dropping. It's not one of those ones where it's high enough where 1 body shot's going to be enough to drop him and kill him, but yeah, as he's coming down, you can spam him with shots and generally kill him before he hits the ground. But if you're not comfortable with that, like I said, you can let him drop to the ground and do that. So we move forward and go to the door. So like I said, as soon as you do this, a Molotov would come and hit you and knock you off the wall if you had left someone alive. So just turn around if that happens, and if you're lucky, they'll either be like standing literally right there, or you'll have to move forward a bit and they'll be like right here. However, there is the potential that you'll just have to go all the way back in the room and find wherever they are, usually somewhere up there or right there. But yeah. So, should a Molotov come and hit you, just be ready to find that last remaining guy. You can also, if that Molotov does break you off the door and you turn around and you don't see the guy immediately, go for the door again, and that sometimes brings that surviving guy forward. I wouldn't count on it, but it is an option. Instead of going and chasing to see where they are, you can always just go for the door twice. A second Molotov will break you away from the door again, and then you can turn around and hopefully they'll at the very least be like right here. Anyway, through the door, into a cutscene. Alright. So here's one. PC, this is just going to be hold W. On console, I'm not going to get it as much on this first haul. Let's see if I can get it on this second one. It's just not going to demonstrate it for me. But it is slightly camera relative, the directional input. So if you're slightly off a little bit on your directional input, she'll stop moving forward. So your best bet is to not necessarily hold perfectly straight forward, but to hold like slightly in the angle of the hallway itself in relation to the camera. So, spin through here. And then after the cinematic, I normally would be holding this way and jumping, so I can jump immediately. I'm gonna quickly do this instead, though. Quickly change save slot so we can go through a bunch of stuff for the radio tower fight. Alright, so jump there, a jump there, jump there, and then we can jump straight onto this beam, and then we'll walk forward for a bit, and just before you can see there's that patch there where the snow kind of stops for a second on the beam. Right as just before we reach that, we'll do one more jump. You can jump all the way down this, but unlike some beams where she'll magnetize to them pretty well, this one she doesn't magnetize to the best. I find it a little on the risky side to do that, so I don't like doing it. It's not gonna save that much time, like half a second maybe, by doing jumps all the way down. So I jump from that corner halfway down the beam, take a couple steps, and then do one more jump here. And it should put me right into the trigger for this QTE, side to side toggle, and then the slow triangle. Alright, so here, we're going to jump forward, grab this ammo. We're going to ignore the first little bit of enemies. Grab pistol, shoot the barrels, jump forward twice. There's going to be the archer not in his normal spot. And we're going to do another take on that. Yeah. So we got our QTE on this guy. And coming out of that QTE, we jump forward, grab this ammo. We're going to ignore these first guys. Grab our pistol out. Barrels. Jump forward. Get this archer. Hit him in the shoulder though, so be ready to finish him off if you do miss him. Alright. So I did get it there before I was ready to, which is fine because he's one of the enemies I do want it on. I got the shove tutorial. So the first time, it can happen earlier than this, very rare though, so I didn't mention it. This is where I force the shove tutorial to occur. The first time you get physically close to an enemy, it's going to give you that tutorial. like face to face physically with an enemy. It'll give you that shove tutorial. Basically, from the once we climb up the wall with Roth, after Roth. And we get the axe from him. All throughout there, it can occur. The fight we just did prior to this, it can occur. But chances are you're going to make it all the way to this point without it happening. Here, I force it to, because, like I said, it will happen the first time you're in that situation. And it's better to have it when you're anticipating it than to have it in the middle of a fight and you have to just react to it. And it's always going to force you on your pistol. And since I'm already using pistol here, it's fine. It's not going to switch my weapon on me. So I always, either that melee guy there, I'll get close to, depending on where he is. If he's a little further back, I'll just headshot him. If he's right next to me there, well, I get the shove tutorial, either unintentionally or intentionally, but I'm always prepared for it to happen there. If I don't get it on him and he's a little further back and I headshot him instead before I come up here, the archer, I shoved him anyway, even though the tutorial had already played out. The archer that was up here, it will get close to him and force the shove tutorial to occur on him. So I always try to get rid of that shove tutorial here where I'm anticipating it. All right. So that was the first group of enemies. We picked up the ammo, we skipped the first group of guys, shot the barrels, jumped forward a couple times. We shot the archer. I didn't get a clean headshot on him. I hit him in the shoulder, but normally would hopefully get a headshot on him. Either get the shove tutorial and then kill the melee dude, or just headshot the melee dude depending on his position. Jump up here, and same thing with this archer that was up here. I either get the shove tutorial on him if I haven't already, and then headshot him, or just headshot him. Quite often, because his positioning can be a little weird, I'll do the shove on him anyway, even if I did get the tutorial already, because as you can see, it staggers him and just puts him in a position where I can get the headshot on him easily. All right, now from here, there's a number of things that can happen. So we can see this guy's already coming down on the zip line. We're going to shoot him off the zip line. And then we're going to, the barrel that's just below him, there's going to be a guy that's going to spawn and climb down from there. We're going to shoot him as he climbs down. So these are just all going to be pretty much body shots because they're in those positions where a body shot's going to make them drop and instantaneously die. So the dude off the zipline, the dude that's going to climb down from the spot below him, then I'm going to turn around because there's going to be two guys that are going to be climbing from behind me. The first guy I'm going to turn around to kill. Then I'm going to turn back around. There should be one more guy coming down from the same zip line that this guy is. I'm going to get him. Then I'm going to get a certain line of dialogue. I can't remember it off the top of my head, so I'll call it out when it does occur once I do unpause here. There's going to be from the hole here, and then off to the left of the door on that same building, there's another hole like at the same floor level. There's going to be two different Molotov guys that are going to come out. So we're going to shoot the one on the right first. He spawns first to climb down. We're going to shoot him as he climbs down, and the one on the left. And then the last guy behind me that would have been coming will turn around to shoot him, which hopefully we'll be able to get him before he actually climbs down from this platform we're on. Because after we kill the next guy off the zip line, the second guy off the zipline, we're going to jump down into the arena in front of us anyway. I know I just explained a lot, but it'll make sense as I start to do it. Now, on top of all of that, there is some very fortunate RNG that can happen. A guy can either shoot a fire arrow or throw a Molotov at us while we're up here doing these shots. If they do, it's actually amazing RNG. Because then the two guys that are going to spawn behind me, I'm not even going to worry about. Because they're just going to end up walking into those flames and dying on their own. So I only have to worry about the guys that are spawning in front of me and getting them taken care of. And the 2 guys that spawn behind are just going to die in the flames themselves. So that's the best RNG we can get, but it's unfortunately a little rare. So normally we do have to shoot everyone. All right. So, as I said, guy off the zipline. This guy. This guy. Next guy off the zipline. And there's the Molotov. So I'm not even going to worry about him. He's going to burn. At least I think he's going to burn. Hope so. Grab this ammo. Shoot him. Grab this ammo. And like I said, the guys are burning to that ammo. And there's the big guy. Picking up the ammo. Skipping the first group of enemies. Pull out pistol. Barrels. Headshot. Headshot tutorial. Finishing him up. Dude off the zipline. This guy. Turn around. This guy. Zipline. We're gonna drop down. Pick up this ammo. Him. And then that last guy. And now the big guy's gonna spawn. Alright. So that is basically the ideal as it would normally play out without getting that fortunate RNG of the Molotov. Alright, we're going to do one more because I know there's a bunch of headshots in there and some pretty tight timing. So, for the rest of you, I'm going to, those that maybe this is your first speed run, or if you're just, you know, not the most comfortable with aiming, we'll go through it once more as to an older version of the strat where you don't necessarily have to be as accurate with your shots. There's still going to be some headshots in there, and I'm sorry, I just go for headshots naturally, but I'll show you the positioning where you, because when you're staying up top there, your timing and everything is a little tighter. I'll show you an alternate version where it's a little slower, but you are a little bit more controlled and have a bit more reaction time to everything that's occurring. Alright, so we're gonna go forward again, grab the ammo, skipping the first enemies. Now the first little bit here is pretty much gonna be the same, so pistol out, shoot the barrels, move forward, try to hit a headshot on him, same thing on the melee dude. Alright, that guy jumped down on me. Get rid of him quickly, and then we're gonna straight out just go down here. We can pick up this ammo since we're already down here. And then here, we're gonna let all these guys just come down. So this is a little easier for you. Just make sure you're moving around so you're not getting spammed too much by archers. This guy might come down on you. So you can see you can shoot them in the chest, and you'll sometimes put them in that animation. But you can wait for these guys to climb down, and that's just going to be a single body shot kill. Okay, we got to protect the tower, stop them at all costs. This is going to be the spawn queue for these two. So they die, and now we pull out, as we did for any of the versions, we're going to pull out our machine gun and get ready for the spawn after killing the last enemies. So the door spawn is going to happen now. So it's going to be a cinematic that we're going to skip, and then we're going to move. It doesn't matter where you are positioned right now, because you're always going to get stuck after this cutscene skip in the same spot. So we're going to have the cutscene of the big guy coming through, skip it, and then we're going to move forward on towards him. And we want him to swing at us. We're going to do a dodge to the left away from him, and immediately, while his shield's out of the way, go to spam him and kind of move toward the left around him as we're spamming him with the machine gun. And hopefully we can maintain consistent hits on him, that we can get him in one. If we need to do a second dodge on him, or sometimes horribly even a third dodge on him, it's okay. But ideally we should be able to get him in one single spam. So there it goes. Skip this cutscene. We're gonna move forward.
Okay, focus.
Go. And there we go. Consistent spam. And then make sure as soon as he dies, you move to the first step off the stoop, like the top part here. You don't want to be on the top part because there's going to be a guy that's going to burst through these doors. If you're on the top, you're going to get staggered back from the doors. So you want to be on the top step so that as soon as the doors burst open, you can move forward through them. We don't have to kill this guy. We're just going to ignore him and go straight through. And you can aim to make sure Lara is facing the correct direction. And then we're going to go partway up these stairs, jump for this ledge, scramble, jump up this, and then onto the rope. And now is going to be the hardest strat in the entire game. So we're going to go to this ladder.
Okay, here goes.
And then we're just going to hold forward for a solid minute. I don't know if it's exactly a minute, but it's close enough to a minute. Yes, I know. Very hard. So there's going to be times where the ladder's going to break. There's going to be a spot where rungs are missing that she has to jump. You are doing nothing for those. You're just holding forward. Legitimately, the only thing you're doing for this section until the cinematic at the top. Alright, so now that we're at the top, we got a cutscene to skip, and then we're going to have to turn some dials. So the first one, we're just going to turn to the right about just shy of 3/4 of the way and hit square. As I approach it, I do spam square a little bit. You want to be careful with that. If you're moving the dial too fast and you're spamming square, you can hit square when the prompt appears and then continue moving the dial for a moment after that. And when you do that, it soft locks and you'll have to reload from checkpoint to fix it. So you want to be cautious of that, and that happens on all versions of the game. For the second one, PC players will be able to fill you in with better detail. I think you have to actually like fiddle with it and find the spot where it's going to say hold the signal and then hold the signal until you can hit the button. For the definitive edition though, all we have to do is kind of like bump the stick and then hold bottom left corner, and that's going to be the spot every single time that we have to hold the signal for. So we just bump the left stick on the second one and then hold bottom left and start spamming square, and as soon as the square prompt comes, we're good to go. Alright. So skip the cutscene. Just shy of 3/4, and then yeah, bump the stick and just hold bottom left.
Mayday! Mayday! This
Skip
is Lara
cutscene.
Croft of the
As soon as it skips, hold forward, jump, and you'll be on the zip line. Yeah. So jumps forward. We're gonna go for the valve. You can do the sparker first. I just find the flow of this area to be better to do the valve first, but it's pure preference. It doesn't make a difference which one you do first. Ideally, you don't want to jump how I just did and jump on there. I wasn't actually thinking about my movement. Coming out of this animation, you want to kind of jump forward right, so you're jumping more here, because you want to avoid Lara doing vaulting animations on any of these ledges. So you want to try to get as clean of a line here. Another quick cutscene skip. And then, so yeah. The fire striker or the valve can be done in either order. It's going to be about the same time. Pick up this ammo while we're waiting for it to explode. Another cutscene to skip. And here, I like to, you know, mess with Lara for this first little bit because there's really nothing you have to do here. But once the camera changes, here you basically just want to keep a fairly straight line, avoid the first couple things, just pretty much keeping her in a straight line. This one we're going to go straight through because it's not going to stagger her or do anything really. Spamming square to cancel this out. And then, to make sure that she safely makes this jump, we're going to scramble, then jump. And as soon as the TR comes up, we're going to pause again. Again, watching for that autosave icon to pop up. Pause, reload checkpoint, and again, it's going to skip the whole dramatic animation that she has of composing herself there.
The pilot.
Right.
I have to
Through.
get to him.
So here, we're going to go for trapeze. Here, you want to try to keep pretty much the straight line of where she is here. You want to watch out for the ramp on the left. If you get too close to it, she will magnetize to it and just do a slower animation of grabbing it. So we want to kind of keep a straight line here. The level we're on is our optimal level, so we want to kind of try to stay on it. It should be just like 2 to 3 hops inside each building. And we'll go on a beam once, which will be 2 hops, which again, this is one of the safe beams where she'll magnetize to it pretty well as long as you're close to it. You don't want to be too far off, otherwise, yeah, you will fall to your death. But as long as you're close to it, her feet will magnetize to it pretty well. So, couple hops through each one, one more trapeze swing toward the end. And yeah, this part's pretty straightforward. There's the next building after the beam that's up ahead that we get into. When we first land in it, I'm going to take steps forward and not jump until a big boulder falls from the sky and breaks some boards. For whatever reason, if you try to jump too early there, her feet like phase into the ground, and sometimes it just means she'll kind of slide around really weird with her feet sunk into the boards before you can jump. And sometimes she'll just full out clip through them. There is a level below, so usually you'll survive if she clips through the floor and be able to just continue from a different level. But ideally you want to avoid all of that, because even if you survive or are able to jump after her feet clip through, she's going to slide around with her feet clipped in the board for a bit, and your movement's going to slow down. So yeah, when we first land in there, we're just going to move forward normally before we do the jump across the gap until that boulder breaks the boards. Then it's good to jump. Oop, I did not mean to do that. All right, so yeah, there we go. 1, 2 jumps onto the board, jump on the board. Okay, couple steps, boulder breaks, now we're good to jump, jump, jump. One more trapeze swing, jump. And then this last building's either going to be 2 or 3 jumps depending on your positioning. And then this one slides us right down into a cutscene. So it's going to be 2 jumps forward. We're going to get somewhat close to this guy and jump around him. So he slashed me there. Sometimes happens. If you get close to him, sometimes you can get him to just like go into a wind-up animation and get around him. You don't want to get too like right on top of him, of course, but you want to get somewhat close to his shield, because 1, you want to keep him toward the left. You don't want him too far right. And 2, when you get somewhat close to him, like I said, you'll sometimes get him to get into a wind-up animation, and you'll just be able to jump around him and he'll never even swing at you. So there are a variety of things that can happen with him, however. Ideally, yeah, you just jump around him and he never swings. Second best is what I just got, where he swings, he slashes at you, which does a little bit of damage, but whatever. You just keep on moving. He can swing and slash you, and it'll stagger Lara, which of course means your forward momentum slows down. And then the worst of it is he can actually stagger her off the edge of the ledge beside her. I've never personally probably can happen, but I've never personally had her die from that. She'll fall off the ledge, off the side, but she'll grab onto it and you just have to pull her back up and keep on moving. So just be aware that that is something that can happen. Don't panic. She'll grab the edge of the platform or whatever you're standing on, the ramp, bridge, whatever you want to call it, and just pull her back up and then keep on moving. And I accidentally pulled this out, so I'm just going to put that away. Normally I would be jumping throughout that, but I don't want the torch out. I don't know how the torch ended up out.
The storm